Hello and welcome to another Whiteboard Wednesday. My name is Thomas Jellowise with Knife Train Pickleball, and if you haven't seen us for the last couple of weeks, you've been following, you haven't seen us for the last couple of weeks. One of those weeks was for vacation, and another week we were getting ready to launch one of the podcasts that I was a guest on. If you haven't had a chance to check either one of those out, the first one is with Caitlin Miller and the Pickleball Kitchen Talk. It's a Pickleball Edition podcast, and the second one was the Sleeves Senior Pickleball Report with Mike Sliwa. It's a great, two great pickleball podcasts. It was awesome to be a guest on there. So anyway, that's why I missed 1 week, and then last week we were on vacation. So anyway, let's get to it because I know that's what you're here for some pickleball. So today we're going to talk about the team transition drill that we use in our weekly drill sessions, especially in the 3.5 to 4.0 plus drill sessions, because the transition zone, the on the court between the baseline and the non-volley zone or the kitchen line, this area right here we call the transition zone, and that is a game changer for those players that are working to get to the 4.0 skill level and higher. This is where you're going to have to do the work and know how to play successfully to make it to the line or to win the rally, right? So the transition drill. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one team, going to move them to the line. This team right here will be the team that is feeding the ball, and this team here is going to be the team that's trying to make it to the transition zone. So what's going to happen is one player will bounce the ball or take the ball, and they decide who they want to feed it to and where on the court they want to feed it to. So say this player over here decides to feed it here, then this player is the one who's now working on trying to drop a successful drop in here, or they could go over here with it, right? But as soon as they try to drop it, then this team will start working their way together forward, okay? So a couple things to keep in mind while we're doing this. Number one is if this ball floats, if they hit a ball that's not going to bounce, and this player obviously has the opportunity to take that ball and put it back any way they want to. Put it back soft, put it back hard, put a short drop, put a long drop, whatever they decide to do. But the goal is to make this team work to get to this line. And obviously every time this team misses, this team gets a point, and every time this team makes it to the line and wins, they get a point, right? So the goal is for this team here is to make it to the kitchen line, right? Successfully. And team 2 here, team number 2 is to keep team number 1 back. Okay, their goal is to make this team that's trying to work through the transition zone as difficult as possible. So they're going to take the ball again, they're going to drop it and then start feeding it or driving it to a spot here, and this team's got to work together to get the ball into the non-volley zone. Now, that's the basics. The basics of this, the very first, like when we're doing this, I like to break this down into smaller chunks, smaller bites. I like to try to take I don't try to make this complicated. I don't try to add like 5 things that you got to do. I try to make it really simple. We're going to start with just this. Once players start getting confident, they start dropping the ball consistently, and it starts becoming part of what they're doing naturally, then we add the next thing. So the very first thing we're going to do is, number 1 is we're going to do drops only. Okay, so this team, all they can do is drop the ball. They can drop it anywhere in here, but their goal is to drop and get to the line. Get to the line. That's number 1. Once that's usually a couple weeks. That's not something that we do the first time and then they've got it down and we can move on. It usually takes a couple times for them to be able to do that. Number 2, now that they're starting to get that, so now we can do number 2, which is drops and drives. Okay, so now they can drop the ball, and then if they get a nice high bounce off a volley or a ball floats, then they're able to drive it. Okay, and again, they're all utilizing that to try to get to the transition zone or force this team to make a mistake, right? And then, of course, still get to the line. That's still their goal, right? And then, so we usually will add that in later down the road as they're getting that, so now they can have the drive. And then number 3, I do a drive and then all drops after. Okay, so a 3rd shot drive, and then it'll be 5th shot, 7th shot, 9th shot drop. So they get to drive the first ball, and then they have to drop all of them. So there's like 3 different versions you can do. I call those all the different 3 progressions. That's how I would do it initially. Start players that way, and then as you can start adding more options of what they can do with the next with as far as selection of shots go. But I find that if you give them too many options, then it just turns into chaos. So we want a controlled environment that allows them to work on specific things. So the very first one is to work on drops. Second one is work on drops and drives. And the third one, let's make that drive first, and then let's work on all drops after that, okay? So then once that happens, then this team will move back, and then this team will move forward. So you play games to 3, games to 5, games to 11. But this team will stay here and play, and say this team here, all they've got to score 5 points, right? So the first team to 5 wins. You also may have noticed that we do this sometimes one-on-one, where it's 7-11. So this guy, because they're back here, he only has to score 7, and then this team right here, because this person's here, they have to score 11, right? And then their goal is to, again, make it successfully to the line, play it out, right? So that's probably something else I should mention, is that once this team gets to the line, then you play it out. It's not they make it to the line and it's over. Get to the line and you play it out for the winner of the rally, right? And then it's just rally scoring. Whoever scores wins that rally and gets a point, okay? So this is a team transition drill. It's one that we like to do. Again, we talked about this a few weeks ago on the 7-11, which was one side with 2 players. This time it's 2 players, 2 players. So this is a great one to work with your partner, great one to work with a tournament partner, great one to have for 4 players as a warm-up before you get to playing, okay? So again, team transition drill. This is a great one that I wanted to share with you guys for today's Whiteboard Wednesday. If you have any videos that you'd like to see, or see a game broken down in a certain play, certain drill, feel free to put it in the comments below. We'll be happy to add it to our list. Again, my name is Thomas Yellow Eyes with Night Train Pickleball, and we'll see you in the next Whiteboard Wednesday.